Good morning, America. 300 million people woke up today trying to live the American dream.
The American dream. What is the American dream, right? Um,
An idea that no matter who you are, where you come from, or what your background is, that you can succeed. You can become whoever you want to be, and only you have the power to do that.
The American dream to me is that you can work really hard in America and fulfill your desires and wants. Is that you can have your family, have your homestead, have your 40 acres and a mule if you just put in enough work. If you can come from any sort of humble beginning and yeah, and make it in America. And I think that's true. I think that's untrue in a lot of different countries. And so maybe I'm an optimist, but I think America's special in that you can do that.
To me, the American dream is just unifying all of the cultures of the world and celebrating them together in a way that both empowers the cultures outside and America itself from within.
Am I part of the American dream? Well, that's a good question. Looks like a bear, talks like a bear, could be a bear.
I feel like I never personally had a concept of the American dream, or at least not much of one, because probably because I think a lot of at least like the vague pieces that I've heard of the American dream comes from I guess like immigrants, like the idea of like being in one country where there's like a lot of hardship and then leaving and going to America where there's like tons of opportunity and you could like reinvent yourself and create like a whole new life and be anything and just whatever you want, free to do whatever, like whatever your dream, your personal dream is.
I mean, I've seen it come true from both my parents who grew up really poor, completely destitute from Mexican immigrants and the second generation, and it came true for them. It came true for their parents as they left a horrible country and were able to raise their family here, and the next generation did really well.
I didn't necessarily pick America. It picked me, or it picked my parents, or picked my grandparents. But lots of people pick America.
But I feel like that principle doesn't exactly apply to people who didn't come to America of their own volition. You know what I mean? Uh, so
I think the United States is obsessed with this narrative about Abraham Lincoln and his log cabin who becomes president.
Especially in the early days, there was a lot of untapped opportunity here, and land, and brand new things to take advantage of. Just now, a lot of those things have already been taken advantage of, and there's a lot of old lines that dictate exactly where luck and opportunity go.
I do, in some ways, feel that it's a bit. It's kind of like a long shot. It's not. It's almost like it's not real. Like the American dream, I don't feel is realistic in some ways, but
like I never grew up with like an idealized view of America or what it could offer me. At least not much of an idealized view of it.
To live the American dream is to fight a lot of battles and not simply to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I am thankful for all the freedoms that I have here, but the freedoms that I have may not be the freedoms that the person next door to me have. And that could be based on um, their gender, their race, their sexual orientation, maybe whether or not they have enough money. Um,
I don't know. I think I was always like both brought up with the idea that if I like worked hard and persevered, I could like accomplish my goals, which is I guess is a huge part of the American dream, but also with the idea uh, that there would be a lot of establishment uh, in an adversarial kind of role to that to try and uh, keep my goals from being accomplished.
I think it's just based off of work. And maybe that's too optimistic, but yeah, whatever. At least that's what I have to tell myself, is that in my impoverished state, it's just because I'm not working hard enough. Which kind of sucks, but it's an optimism that tells me to work harder and that drives me.
I'm a house cleaner, and my idea of the American dream is to be able to afford a shitty apartment and not be living out of my car or in my boyfriend's because I have to, because I have no money. It's to be able to get a job without having someone inside of that place that I'm trying to get a job from. So my idea of the American dream is being able to make money because I am good and I'm worth it.
I honestly think that the American dream doesn't exist anymore. I feel like it's all a hoax, and we all created America to think about it's the greatest country in the world, which I think it's still one of the greatest countries in the world, but I don't think it's the number one. And I think that now power and money has taken over America to the point where we're slaves for them and we have to work for them. I really highly believe that we live in a fake world just to bust our asses to make money. And we shouldn't work that way. Anyways.
Walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We will rest upon the ground, look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. We walk to school all by ourselves. There's dirt on our uniforms, chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. We clean up and now it's time to learn.
I think the American dream has shifted from marriage and home ownership into individuality and following your passion while being able to support yourself.
And I'd say that my American dream is something that's embedded in me. It's part of who I am, and it's to write and create music for a living, and not just the job of it, but to be able to write and tell stories in a way that will bring people together and create hope.
Hopefully I can make more than my parents, but I'm a millennial, so that might not be so true. I mean, the American dream has to be true. I mean, all these immigrants can't be wrong.
1% of the U.S. population works at or for Walmart. Is this not the modern-day log cabin narrative? Except, unless you're the CEO of Walmart, you have a very slim chance of being president. But no one admits that, because that also admits that the American dream is just that. A fantasy.
Maybe I'm just like in a very long-winded and roundabout way saying I'm not sure what the American dream is Like it's like a universal, all-encompassing idea. Something like that.